Where did your love of football start?
I started playing football when I was in the school grounds and playing at lunchtimes and stuff with the boys, but I never actually played with a team until I was in high school, so it kind of a slow start, but then it progressed from there. So,
what made you get the bug to play football with the boys at kind of school?
I think it was just the game kind of side of it. Like, I think it always sounded fun. Like, I didn't really enjoy doing gymnastics and stuff like that, and I was friends with the boys anyway, so it was kind of, I just hanged about with them anyway, so it was kind of trying to just have fun at break and lunch and actually found something I was really passionate about.
You're in the kind of peak, kind of prime era of just with the women's game particularly is evolving. Was there women's players you've seen 5, 10, 15 years ago that you're looking up to now, or you looked up to then, that are a part of the atmosphere and the sphere of football we see now?
Well, it's actually surprising because when I was younger, I didn't know that women's football was actually a thing, because when I was younger, everybody, it was a boys' game and it was strange that I was playing, so I didn't even know there was girls' teams. But I think nowadays, girls younger have, because of social media and etc., they now know that they are able to do that from a young age, which I wasn't really able to do. So I think now there's loads of opportunities and great role models for the younger girls.
It's amazing how you, even say 10, 12 years ago, you kind of felt it was rather limited or not knowing very much about the game. It's changing all the time. So looking at it now, because you're still a young player looking up to maybe be a Glasgow City first team player, or play football at first team level one day, who do you look up to now in the game?
I think one of my main role models would be Claire Shine. I think on and off the pitch her mindset is amazing, and she's an incredible footballer, but there's so many, even just in Glasgow City, that when you see their mentality, it's just amazing. You think that's who you want to be when you're older, and I can do the same things as them, and they're happy to talk to you about it kind of thing and give you pointers, which I think is amazing, because they're the people you're looking up to and you can talk to them about it.
Yeah, and I'll touch on kind of maybe the other stuff you do within the club and coaching and things later on, but you touch on Claire Shine. She is part of the foundation of the club, does a lot of school community projects, does help at at camps. You've helped at camps, and you see say someone like Claire Shine, as you mentioned, someone you look up to. There's 7, 8-year-old girls I bet looking up to her, because she just gets involved and gets full in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think she's always about the club, and you always see her everywhere. So it's not like it's when I was younger, you'd think of players that you were I'm never going to meet them. When you're meeting your role model, you could meet them from a day-to-day basis. It's kind of one of those things you wouldn't think would be possible, but because she's so involved with the club, it's amazing that how much you can actually interact with her.
Talking from you saying didn't know much about the women's game or players and stuff when you were a youngster, and getting into high school, becoming part of a team, and then all of a sudden with your football you get called up to be an international footballer at youth level with Northern Ireland. Still are involved with Northern Ireland. You've got Scottish blood and Northern Irish blood in there. How did that all come about? That's a bit of a whirlwind, surely.
So I was playing in the Foyle Cup, so I was over in Derry playing in that, and it was actually, I was playing with an American team. The first year I went, and the second year I went back because I had family in Derry. I ended up playing there, and the Northern Ireland coaches were just watching the game and were asking. They ended up talking to mum and dad, and figuring out that I was actually Irish, because obviously I came over for the games, but it just kind of started from there. And because my gran and stuff were from Northern Ireland and stuff, it kind of just started there. So really glad that I went.
Yeah, but I think how quick things have changed in those few years through your secondary high school, that you're now under 17s internationally. You've dipped into under 19s as well. How can you even comprehend that kind of transition through your teens?
I don't think I can actually believe it, because it wasn't that long ago where I was only just starting out. Because it's amazing how quickly time flies, and so much can change in that time.
Yeah, and I know you've we talked beforehand about fact that maybe with COVID and stuff it's been difficult to get international football.
Yeah.
You kind of can't wait to get back, hopefully, in the fold again.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been a struggle for all footballers, but I think it definitely hit women's football really hard because obviously you had the World Cup, and when that happened I thought it's just going to skyrocket, but obviously there was a dip because games were off and stuff like that, and it was hard internationally because I am over here and it's not like I can train. They were still training over there whilst our football was off, so that was difficult, and just trying to get back in the mix of things, it will be a challenge, but I'm up for it. Yeah.
It was like that for all age groups and even first team, the amount of time we had off during the COVID break, a couple of different spells. What was the feeling like, whether it was doing little training bits and bobs and mass testing and like, how good was it to get back playing football again in the last 12 months?
Oh, it was amazing. I think I was so happy when we went back to football because you were in your garden yourself, and it wasn't the same because it is a team sport, so you want to be there with your friends. Like, you've built those relationships, you've got those, like, that time is like the most time to like relax and kind of just get a break. And if you're not doing that, like if you're by yourself, like we were doing Zoom calls and stuff, but it wasn't the same as being in person, kicking a ball about with your team. It wasn't the same.
Is there anything positive that did come out of those Zoom calls? I know loads of quizzes and stuff were done during the break.
Yeah, we done a lot of quizzes and like challenges, which I think brought the team closer together. But I think we were missing each other, and I think we got to know each other a bit more personally, because normally when we're at football you don't really get a lot of time to chat about stuff outside of football, but when we're on the Zoom calls we could have a laugh, get to know each other a bit more personally, so I thought that was good about the Zoom calls.
Of the team, you played in Scotland and you moved to Glasgow City the last couple of years or so, and you're part of the under-19s setup. What was the big draw to Glasgow City, and how you found being part of a club which has been solely, for likes yourself, purely for girls and women?
Yeah, well, I think when I started getting into women's football, it was a team that shined out, like stood out from the rest of the rest. So it was kind of like when I was at Accies, I thought that would be an amazing team to play for. Like, you've got Rangers and Celtic, but they've got the men's side as well, which I think it's good that Glasgow City stands on its own, and I think it's just a good opportunity for the women, and I think it was just a dream come true when I got the chance to move here. Yeah,
and COVID kind of side, you're playing games, you're in the war wounds just now with your broken nose you picked up the other week there, but you're here now, you've been part of the fabric. You've talked about like Claire Shine and other first team players. I feel like you've kind of got completely enthused and involved with pretty much every aspect of the club, and you're at first team games as much as you can. You're still being a ball girl. It feels pretty much like it's a club. And for me, it's a club that becomes part of your DNA pretty quickly. Do you feel like it's kind of clung on to you in the same way? Yeah,
I think it's definitely came a part of myself, and I think if I didn't have the club, I don't know what I would do, because I think if I'm not here, if I'm not playing myself, I want to be at first team games. If I'm not at first team games, I would like to be coaching, or I think just being involved around Glasgow City in any way just makes me so happy.
And we are a club that has the pathway up to the first team, and you have to be at a certain level to reach the first team, and you've got players in the 19s that have tasted that first team level. How much of a kind of inspiration for my Bates, Nii Noble, Evie Easton, is training with the first team for you, that you keep doing your thing, and if it the opportunity might come one day that you'll be there to kind of take it?
Yeah, I think it's good because they show that it is possible, and I think it just shows how good the structure at Glasgow City is, that there is that pathway to go up to first team.
And it feels like it's almost tighter than ever, because Kieran McNenny that's manages the 19s, is also assistant Dylan Gleeson at first team. There's quite a lot of synergy between the two squads.
Yeah, I think that's good in itself, because Kieran obviously knows us, he knows first team, he knows what's expected at first team, and he can involve that in our training. So our warm up on a match day can be the same as first team, so that if we were to move up, we don't have to be as nervous, we already know what we're doing. And even from the way he structures our training is the same that first team would be treated, and I think that's just amazing that he's been able to bring that from first team down to 19s.
And has that even changed in the last few months? Because things have changed with the first team. The first team are based here at Petershill all the time.
Yeah.
There's a real intensity about every session that I've been at. It seems to have completely ramped up at a completely different level. Is that kind of transpired over to you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think the changes that have been made at first team have been said to 19s and are starting to get a wee bit involved with the 19s as well, which I think is great because it will only improve us as players. So it's kind of just the best to what can improve us.
So you touched on a little bit and mentioned a little bit about the coaching side as part of just this infusion of you in as part of this club. You do a bit of coaching under 9s, kind of the young ones. You're at pretty much all the camps as well, and you get involved with that. How did you get, or why coaching? Was that something you always wanted to do, or have you kind of got chucked into it and you quite like it now?
Well, I like the idea of it, and I just thought, well, I've got role models and they've done so much for me, and I would like to do the same for younger girls as well. And I just thought, if I'm getting taught stuff by great coaches like Kieran, why can I not then share that with other players? And I thought it would be a great way to start at a younger age group at like the under 9s and teach them from there, even from simple stuff like skills, where I didn't know that when I was younger, and if I did know that, how much I thought it probably would have improved, and I think it will benefit them.
I was going to say that at 9-year-old you didn't have a team.
No.
And these girls have got a team, and you're coaching them. That's a full circle and a half, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think I wish I was in their position, but at the same time you learn from it, and I think it will benefit them from starting at a young age. And I think the girls that are at the under 9s, there's so much talent there, and I think they'll do amazing. Like, just from a very young age you can see it straight away.
And then the camps as well. That's some of our girls from the Glasgow City kind of academy are there, but then there's loads of other girls that come. One that come up at Easter. There's summer ones last year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And again, it's a completely different bunch of girls. Well, some of them are a different bunch of girls that have never experienced maybe football before. Girls football of any sort. So what's that kind of like? Because it's a completely different kind of aspect.
I think it's good seeing loads of different age groups together, because at the camps, we have them separated into their years kind of thing, but also ability. So I think it's good to kind of get that mix, and the younger ones can see what the under 14s or the under 12s are kind of doing, and get to know everybody in the academy instead of just knowing their team. So I think it's interacting with other girls that love the same thing that you do.
Kind of away from the club, but still related to football, and the kind of third aspect of kind of your kind of big involvement in football is you're a referee as well, which people might not know. You go out and referee particularly kind of the young girls' games. How long have you been doing that, and where did that come from?
Well, I was kind of, when I went into 6th year at school, I wanted an easy year, because I thought I wanted to get the results that I needed, but also have time to focus on my football, focus on coaching. But I felt like there was something missing, and I didn't get, when I was looking at subject choices and stuff, they had a referee but not in my school, so I thought I'll take it into my own hands and do it away from school and get that qualification, because I thought it will improve me as a player, but of my knowledge, but also when I play games you don't really see a lot of female referees, and I thought that's another aspect of getting women more involved with the game. And I think for the younger age groups, seeing a female referee, that could be inspiring to them to keep going and show that it isn't just boys that do it, and that girls can do it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing in the game, in all football, but in the women's game, you touched on, there isn't a great deal of visibility in female officials. Not everyone's going to make a high-end, top-level maybe player, but there is coaching, there is the officiating side as well. You're doing a bit of all three. I know playing's number one, but what do you think you might do, say, beyond football? Is the refereeing better than the coaching, or do you not sure yet?
I'm not entirely sure yet, but I do love all of them. I think they all have different benefits, but I do, from the first game that I refereed, I knew that I'd love it. and it's definitely seen it from a different aspect compared to coaching, compared to playing. Like, it's so dramatically different that, like, you wouldn't expect it to be. But I would love to go higher up in my refereeing and maybe do like a FIFA game or like a first team game kind of thing, and I think that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to as I progress.
And as a footballer, obviously in Scotland now, you know, professional football has arrived. You know, Glasgow City have moved along with those times as well. And the game, you know, from, as you said, from a youngster, you know, wasn't anywhere near as visible as it is now, and the pro era is here. I guess you must have aspirations that, you know, before refereeing and coaching, you get to that kind of level as a footballer.
I think definitely with the 19s right now, that's where my focus is on. So winning the league, and we've got the cup game coming up at the end of March, and I think that's like probably a target for us to like show that we are the best team at our age level and that we deserve what we're winning. And to show that to everybody else, because we know that we are capable of it. Apart from the 19s, I would love to be involved with the first team, and I think that's one of my goals if I keep going, that hopefully I'll succeed one day. So I think the set-up and just even watching the games, you can see the talent that's already in the team, and I would love to be involved in that.
Absolutely. So you've done about everything in the game already, and you're still at 6th year high school. I never found an easy choice at 6th year in high school, I tell you that. So well done if you actually did in the end. Just as a kind of final kind of thought, and just on International Women's Day, what advice would you give to young girls? You've kind of coached and seen many of them at some of our events and at your coaching sessions. What advice would you give to any kind of young girl that's want to take up football, maybe doesn't quite know where to go, you know, obviously we're around, or if it's a club more local to them, to get involved in the sport, what advice would you give?
I think if you want to do it and you've got even any wee inkling that you do want to do it, go try it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think if it's for you, like, you'll love it, and I don't think there's any like difference in trying and seeing if you like it. But I think it's women's football's definitely going up, so for younger girls I think it's going to be them who are going to make it strong, and I think my age group, we can do what we can, but it's them in the future that is going to be the main source kind of thing.